And let's get into that first big story out of Axios. This is crazy news. Putin orders Russian peacekeeping operations in eastern Ukraine. The latest in a decree recognizing the independence of the Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic. Putin ordered the Russian military to conduct peacekeeping operations in the occupied Ukrainian territories. The separatists don't hold all the territory they claim, so recognition could swiftly evolve into war unless Russia limits its operations to the separatist-held areas. Analysts have also warned that Moscow could also use any attacks on its troops in eastern Ukraine, real or fabricated, as a pretext for a broader war. The separatists declared independence in 2014 and have waged a low-scale war against Ukrainian forces since then, with military backing from Moscow. The fighting has escalated since Thursday, with Kiev accusing the separatists of persistent shelling across the line of contact. I just want to point out, though, I don't believe the corporate press. I don't know exactly what's going on. The U.S. is typically run by establishment political warmongers who will lie to justify invading or triggering a war or whatever. There was a lot of reporting that Russia would seize Kiev and occupy and then hunt down supporters of the president, which is all just propaganda BS. It's a complicated situation. You know, I mentioned in the intro, I have friends down there and they view this as Russia just building up an excuse to seize more territory in eastern Ukraine because they don't want Ukraine becoming a NATO force. They don't want NATO on their doorstep. But I don't know what to believe, to be completely honest. I certainly don't believe Vladimir Putin. But am I supposed to believe Joe Biden, or is this all just some dirty game? No, I'll say one more quick thing. As this was heating up, we got reports that at the Ukrainian embassy, they started destroying computers and data. Well, as most of us know, Joe Biden was criminally involved, at least I should say, in my opinion, it was criminal, with Burisma and his son getting, was it $83,000 per month being on the board of directors for a Ukrainian energy company. And then Joe Biden, quid pro quo, told the president, fire the prosecutor. The prosecutor was investigating this company. And then as soon as he's out, the guy who found it comes back. It wasn't until Donald Trump came in, the guy fled the country again. So look, I think it's simple. My view, Joe Biden's panicking. Joe Biden was playing dirty with Ukraine along with the rest of the Democrats, probably because they want to set up an oil pipeline going through Ukraine, the Qatar-Turkey pipeline. When Donald Trump was president, all this disappeared. For 4 years, there was nothing really going on here. What happened? Then Joe Biden comes back and all of a sudden war's breaking out. It's awfully convenient.
I feel like this is actually a good thing. I think in the reality what will happen is they'll take over a certain chunk of the country. Russians look good. We look good because we can say we saved Ukraine. There'll be some kind of negotiation. The Norwegians or the Swiss or someone will come in and build some kind of peace program. They'll call it the Kiev Accords or something. They'll call it something like that. They'll call peace, and it'll be settled in a way that is acceptable for everybody enough. It's distraction against the disaster the Russian economy is. It's distraction against the disaster that our economy is. So it's good distraction against all those things. And it sets up China for a negotiated deal on Taiwan.
Really?
So it sets everything up in motion. So I think this is all great in the long run for everybody. Everyone's going to be happy, meaning all the establishment will be happy. The individual Ukrainians, they're going to be screwed. If we have to send any troops, we're going to be screwed. But the establishment is going to be just fine. Putin is getting a bunch of, pro-Russian, see, we're Russia, oorah, oorah. I know our country's a disaster, but isn't it great to be Russian? And the same thing over here. We're not talking about how bad our economy is. Look at the news. It's all Ukraine.
Yeah.
We're not talking about how bad things are here. It's all Ukraine. So we can all talk about that. Good distraction. Life is good. And we settle it without fighting, actually having a battle. And that sets up China to have some kind of negotiation for Taiwan, which it'll be a Hong Kong type negotiation for Taiwan.
There are a bunch of these articles that keep popping up talking about, what is this one we have from The Sun? Here we go. How Russian invasion of Ukraine may trigger conflict in all corners of the globe. In terrifying World War III, expert warns. This one's from January. There were a couple today. Every week you get a handful of them. Mm-hmm. And, obviously people are already saying the title we used is because I mentioned the fears of it. Mm-hmm. Well, the challenge is, do I act like these articles based on my bias are all fake and just say that no one's really scared about, if Russia moves into eastern Ukraine, will that be the distraction China needs to move in on Taiwan? Mm-hmm. Will China start using similar tactics on Taiwan?
Yep.
I think that's a legitimate concern. And then if we get spread thin across the board, what's Iran going to do? What's going to happen in Yemen with Saudi Arabia? What's North Korea going to do? So I think there's a possibility there. But I do think it's fair to point out all these big stories that are popping up, like Russia would occupy Kiev. That's insane.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not going to happen. And also the U.S., I really do not believe, maybe this will come back to bite me in the ass. I do not believe the U.S. will have active troops in eastern Ukraine or in Ukraine fighting with Russians. The U.S. is going to waggle its finger. And I think it's like you're saying, Larry, I'd be willing to bet that Joe Biden and his people are sitting there and they're like, hey, this Russia stuff is fantastic news for us.
Absolutely.
Like our approval's in the gutter. Everyone's mad at us. You've got protests. They're going to do a DC convoy. Quick, scream war and point to Russia.
Yes, and we'll shake our fist and see I'm strong. I'm so strong against these Russians.